Welcome. This is Richard, and I want to welcome you to the Innovation Best Practices episodes, where every episode is designed to help you sell more and make more from your innovation program. And these are proven best practices that I believe can work for virtually any business and any business need. I want to give a special welcome to our listeners around the world, now in 91 countries. Today we're going to be asking the question, are you solving the right problem when you are working on innovation in your enterprise? As you will find out, many are not, and there's big downside risk to doing this. The advice about how to do this right comes from a Harvard Business Review article written by Dwayne Spradlin. Again, as you may know, I use a lot of Harvard Business Review articles in here because I think they are one of the sources for innovation best practices. Okay, so here's an overview of what we're going to be talking about. Surprisingly, many, if not most, companies are not solving the right problem, and that makes innovation more difficult and risky. For those of you regular listeners to the podcast, you will remember an earlier podcast where I interviewed Carrie McNamara, and she talked about an experience where she was doing this for a major restaurant chain, where just a few hours into the session, where they were trying to solve better menu items, the leader of the session got this scary look on his face. Long story short, he realized that they were trying to solve the wrong problem. And indeed, they were trying to solve the wrong problem. Fortunately, he realized it before all the money was spent and they were able to redirect the effort. But that was a real living example of major companies trying to solve the wrong problem. This article, the Harvard Business Review article, articulates 4 steps that can significantly increase the chances that you're trying to solve the right problem. I also add some of my perspective because companies need to start their innovation thinking from a far broader perspective. It creates far more opportunities for success, as I'll share with you. Albert Einstein, one of the great people I love to quote for all kinds of things. You want great advice? Here it is. Quote, "If I were given 1 hour to save the planet, I would spend 59 minutes defining the problem and 1 minute resolving it." I love it. If you don't solve the right problem, all the subsequent effort is just not going to work. It's that simple. Okay. Background. The downsides of not defining the right problem. There are missed opportunities, wasted resources, initiatives that aren't aligned with strategies. You're at greater competitive risk because you've gone in the wrong direction, lower company morale, to name just a few. In this article, the owner of Innocentive, a leading open innovation company, which I've talked about in an earlier episode on open innovation, offers proven best practices advice about defining the right problem to solve with innovation. In his experience, the company has solved more than 2,000 problems across all kinds of businesses. So, when he speaks, you listen. Here are the 4 steps. The first one is establish the need for a solution. What is the basic need? Avoid jumping to a solution. So many people define the problem with a solution in mind. And yours truly has made this mistake before. I've got a front row seat to doing this. It's not the right and best way to do it. So be sure to define the scope. What is the desired outcome? State this from the perspective of the customer. Okay? Focus on customer benefits. What's in it for the customer? If there isn't anything in it for the customer, it ain't going to sell. It's that simple. Provide both a quantitative and qualitative perspective on this. Who stands to benefit from the innovation and why? Look broadly to potential customers, stakeholders, careers, suppliers, and the list goes on. Second step is justify the need. Is the effort aligned with your strategy? If you go down this road, will it just create a potentially successful product or a more successful company? I mean, I'm going to give you an outrageous example here, but if you're in the pest control business and the owner decides that, boy, he's gotten this big brainstorm and he figures out how to make a better wheat cracker. And he's got some really good leads, and he believes he really can do it. Is this the right thing to do strategically for the company? They might create a potentially successful product, but it's not going to create a more successful company. And you want products to make your overall company stronger. Next, what are the desired benefits for the company, and how will we measure them? Now, in many cases, especially larger business, this is often stated in terms of revenue, how much revenue we want to get, how much profit, what's the return on investment we might like to get on this, and what's the market share that this might get. Next, how will we ensure that a solution is implemented? Can you utilize existing capabilities and processes, or is it likely you'll need to create new ones? And if new, are you ready and capable of doing this? Ask the questions. Next, contextualize the problem. What approaches have you tried? Is there a simple resolution by using a previous failure that could quickly become a solution? Revisit something already. What have other people tried that have tried to solve this problem? What can be learned from others who've tried, like competitors, research labs? In today's world, you can research this thing pretty well. What are the internal and external constraints on implementing a solution? And the fourth is write the problem statement. Is the problem actually many problems? What requirements must a solution meet? You got to know when you've got it. Which problem solvers should we engage? It's kind of like, which resources should you use? What information and language should the problem statement include? In an earlier podcast, I talked a little bit about the power of language. Be very careful in your choice of words. And generally, you want to be specific, but not too technical. This is almost like an art form. What do solvers need to submit? Okay, you're going to ask people to solve it. What do they need to give you? What incentives do you need for solvers to be successful? This question comes straight out of his innocentive background, because that's what they do in open innovation. If you solve this, you get this. How will solutions be evaluated and success measured? You need to think these things through. Okay, here's my perspective. We once had a client define an innovation need in terms of the specific number of fewer minutes required for food preparation. Wow. The bigger problem they were trying to solve is to make the product more convenient and easier to use. We solved their minutes problem. Had they stated their innovation need in terms of more convenient and easier, they probably would have gotten far more potential solutions, only one of which was the time reduction solution. And those other solutions may actually have been far better. So it's very interesting how people go about defining problems. I love looking at opportunities from a far broader perspective. You'll remember earlier episodes on the 10 types of innovation. There's lots of avenues that you can go down. Okay? There's lots of research that can tell you what problems consumers have with specific products. There are measures like likes and dislikes and overall satisfaction levels. Okay, so you can figure out where you need to go. There's lots of research that can tell you how important various needs are for consumers. Your chances for success go up if you're solving one of their top 2 or 3 needs or problems. So learn from your customers. Now, you don't want to be constrained totally by customers, because customers have very narrow views. And I've talked about this in some earlier episodes. Customers are not very good at innovating new ideas. They can tell you about their needs, they can tell you about their problems, and that's good stimulus for figuring out what you're going to solve. Consumer needs tend to be more general. That's how they state them. Gosh, I wish this product was more convenient. They don't say, gosh, I wish it took me 5 minutes less to cook this. That's not the way they talk. And this empowers you to seek more open-ended solutions, broader possible solutions. Think like consumers, solve the problems in consumer terms, which are far broader set of possibilities. Interesting stuff here. If you'd like more innovation best practices, all you need to do is go to my website, i2ge.com. That's the letter I, number 2ge.com. Click on the menu bar, the one that says DIY Innovation Training. A whole bunch of training programs will pop up. If there isn't one there that meets your exact needs, just contact me. We'd be glad to tailor one for you. Here's what I'm trying to do with this. I'm trying to create innovation self-sufficiency for you so that you don't need to hire expensive consultants like me to do it for you. These training programs can make you long-term innovation self-sufficient, saving you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Another source of best practices is one of the 6 books that I've written and published. It's called Proven Practical Innovation That Delivers Results. It's available only at Amazon in a paperback and Kindle version, and it's priced below my break-even cost, so it's a heck of a value. If you have suggestions, comments, or requests, I love hearing from listeners. Just send me an email to richard@i2ge.com. I look forward to hearing from you. In the next episode, we're going to use another Harvard Business Review article about how to get better consumer insight. Better understanding of consumers often leads to better chances for innovation success. This one's going to be interesting. I'm a big fan of research, and this was actually news to me. Very welcome news. So make sure you tune in to this episode. As all of you know, I deeply appreciate your time taking out of a busy day to listen to this. I look forward to reconnecting with you soon, and until then, please have a great day.